This Week 7 Daily Fantasy Football edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by MyBookie.ag. Right now, to honor football, MyBookie is offering up to $1,000 in free bets using the promo code SGP. That's right, $1,000 in bonus bets on your first deposit when you use the promo code SGP. Play, win, and get paid at MyBookie.ag. We're also brought to you by Amazon. Log on to sportsgamblingpodcast.com and click the Amazon banner. Bookmark that link and use it every time you shop to score sweet savings and support the podcast. Ooh, welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I am Sean, second of the green, and he is Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening?
You looked at me, and for a second I was like, wait, am I supposed to say my own name? You get me confused. Sean, bringing it back to the intro, I got to be honest, you sound like a guy who's been screaming at possums. It was a little bit of a coyote squeal.
Yeah. Well, again, my voice as a performer, I do better in the evening where because of scheduling issues, we're recording this in the afternoon. We're actually recording it pre-Monday Night Football, so if one of us has Aaron Rodgers in a lineup and he, breaks his leg or tears his ACL, we may have to adjust. But the Possums, they're still it's a dynamic situation, very fluid. I don't know what the hell is going on because they keep either eating the food and not setting off the trap, or a couple times they've eaten the food, set off the trap, and still somehow got out of the trap. Tonight is my last night of setting the trap. If not, then I am going to probably succumb to getting a professional hire. Perfect transition to bring on our guest for the Daily Fantasy Football Podcast. A professional himself, lives out in Las Vegas, does this for a living, host of Inside Vegas on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, the one, the only, Christian Pina. Pina, what's up, man?
The more things change in this world, the more they stay the same. Patriots rolling along, and Philadelphia season dead and buried. What else is new in the NFL, my friends?
18 months in the making right there.
No one believed in us, and now we're rallying.
I really thought you were going to transition calling Pina the Exterminator. That's where I thought you were going there.
Oh, that would have been a solid
Christian the Exterminator Pina. That's I don't know. That's very grim.
Sounds like a Photoshop.
I like the cleaner because all I do is sweep cards.
Ooh.
There you go.
Ooh.
You exterminate the bookies.
By the way, I know
sounds like a Photoshop opportunity.
I know we don't always recap here on the DFS show, but did you take a look at what happened in the Big Boy last week? Oh, that's right, Sean.
Oh my God!
You weren't a big boy last week.
No, I was not a big boy. I'll be honest. I'm playing these lineups. I'm putting them out, and I've been I can't put together a great cumulative lineup. Like I have a couple nice plays here and there. A couple ones that are like, oh wow, he performed a little better than people thought, but nothing consistent. Like Nick Chubb, awesome play, 32.9. Gardner Minshew, nothing. Will Dissly blew out his ACL in the game.
Solid pick, Sean.
No, I mean, Chubb was great, but the rest of the guys were either average or just horrible. Cooper Kupp, do I know when to quit this guy? I don't know. I think we're going to figure this out.
So let's talk about the big boy, because I've been slowly heating up. Perhaps because I haven't I haven't been forced to spend like 9% of my budget on Saquon every week, although he's worth it every single time. So it's the big boy, the late games, 4 games, perfect, for a game on each one of my TVs. At this point, everyone has vacated the studio. It's just me and one of the little ones, and I'm explaining that I'm in this. She was having a lot of fun, like updating the DraftKings the score, seeing my score turn green. I was running down D. Poger. Anyway, he had a nice lineup. He was a little bit ahead of me. The Cardinals-Falcons game, of course, I had the tight end against the Cardinals, which we love that. Now giving up 7 touchdowns on the year, Sean. And I had Kyler and Fitz. And Atlanta, I also have Arizona plus 2.5, mind you, but I'm like, I need Atlanta to score this game-tying touchdown because that almost guarantees that I'm going to make up the 4.5 points I need to make up. with Kyler, Fitz, and a tight end
Yeah. You
going.
can get 4.5 in overtime.
Either the game goes to overtime or Kyler brings them back, and for sure I'm going to get 4.5 points if they go on a game-winning drive.
Or even, just the drive itself. They'll probably sit back and prevent some easy.
So maybe Fitz gets a
check-down
catch
throws.
or two, and that's that. And then what happens? Matt Bryant. So I'm telling this to the little one. I'm like, this is great. This is good news. They scored a touchdown. Now we're guaranteed to have it. And what happens? Matt Bryant walks out there and doinks. He misses the extra point horribly. Which, yes, I was very happy. I cashed my 2.5. Yes, I was very happy. The Falcons continue to show me right and be complete trash. But holy shit. That was it. He cost me the effing game.
That's horrible.
He cost me that's $1,000 right there.
It's a big swing.
Do I send him an IOU?
What the fuck?
We need to get some proper
should just-
letterhead so we can start sending these.
Yeah, or maybe that's what we do. We do like a Square Cash request to Matt Bryant or whatever, like those Venmo requests.
I'm gonna
that you
keep
see.
track. Anyway, yeah,
I
real
like
bummer.
it. Add him to the list.
Austin Hooper. Though. Jesus.
Austin Hooper coming up big. I don't know why we've been playing the Arizona tight ends every week, but I'll be honest, I haven't been playing the player props. Really should head over to mybookie.ag, get on those player props of tight ends going up against the Arizona Cardinals, and they got it all over there. They even have a build your own prop. So I don't know why we don't just set up a 2-touchdown tight end prop for Evan Ingram this week, assuming he decides to man up and play for the Arizona Cardinals, because huge opportunity for Evan Ingram. I'm sure we'll be getting into that, but again, you want to play, win, and get paid? All you got to do is head over to mybookie.ag, the official presenting partner of the Sports Gambling Podcast and Sports Gambling Podcast Network. They got it all over there, man. Really, any kind of bets? Playoff baseball, that's happening. NBA futures right around the corner. Hockey, they got it all. Their free Survivor contest, the MyBookie free roll contest, or the Super contest. Yeah, head over there. Play, win, and get paid. Use the promo code SGP for a 100% deposit bonus.
Sean, imagine you had the Redskins on 2 of your Survivor pools. I went 50-50 Green Bay and Washington for my shares this past week, and boy, Fitzmagic. Why'd they have to put him in the game? Cost us the cover.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
that got scary. If Rosen stays in that game, there's no way.
No way.
No way. But still, I've been doing good in the MyBookie Super Contest. Going on a little run, 11-4, last 15 after my horrific start. So
We're as a group, Christian Pina included, we are doing all right in the Super Contest. We're above 500.
Vegas Super Contest. That's all you got to do. Stay above 500.
We're above
Stay
500.
within striking distance.
Just need to get hot.
It's all it is. Pina, let's kick
Teams
things up.
keep letting me down, man. I think that I was like 4-0 the first couple weeks, and now I think based on the Eagles, the Chiefs, and the Rams, I just can't quit these teams that just like every single one of these. It's like, oh, great spot, get right game, and no.
Yeah, a guy in the Slack, Go Bearcat. He's like an intense data analyst. He's got like a system.
He's got a very nice looking spreadsheet, Sean.
It blows my
Very
mind.
nice.
You can tell anytime he shares a spreadsheet in the Slack, Ryan just gets.
If you could just,
Oh,
if you could just play the gym,
Cox.
play some Jim Nance real quick. It's been very fun over at slack.sportsgamblingpodcast.com, Sean, where it turns out not only do we have D-Gens as fans, but we have some other lovers of spreadsheets and data
Ryan,
and numbers.
The smile on Ryan's face right now.
Yeah.
I'm a gut guy, but I appreciate a good data set, and his system had the Eagles really high, so I don't think you're alone.
Are you
No, Pina was
hold on, let me get you a participation trophy.
Pina was saying that he felt let down by the Eagles, and I'm pointing out that a lot of the numbers had Eagles as a strong
I
team.
bet you we see his model break a lot with the Vikings at home.
Yeah, because they are such a hot and cold team. All right, Pina, let's get hot. Let's do it. Who's your
Sauna? What are we doing?
steam room?
Hot tub?
Pina, what are you doing for your quarterback? I
Yeah.
struggled for this because there's a lot of interesting options, I think, this week.
Oh man, getting hot. I thought I was gonna have to take you guys to the Russian bathhouse to see what was going on in Vegas this time of year.
Let's beat each other with some sticks. I like that.
Sean, you hit the nail on the head, man. This week at quarterback, it sucks, man. Like if you want to, pay up $7,000 for Watson, I get it. Lamar Jackson's always going to be largely rushing dependent. The third highest quarterback on this board is Kyler Murray. And on down through the line, it's a really tough week. I guess you could go Allen. I went off. You prefaced the tight end play, man. Why not? Come back to a guy who's coming, off the worst game of his career. Again, largely give you a pass on short rest against Bill Belichick. In one of the worst games that he had, but up and down the line, again, big pass on that one. I love taking kind of the buy low approach here on a guy like Daniel Dimes Jones, my friends. And I guess you can probably guess who that stack is coming with.
It's funny because Sean's saying it's gross. I think it's gross because all of his anti-gut indicators or maybe even his gut is telling him to take guys like Daniel Jones, like Jared Goff. And it's hard to take those guys, even though they have really, really nice matchups. I too almost went that angle, but I decided to go a different route this week. I haven't done it this year, but I'm taking Lamar Jackson because that floor has gotten ridiculous. And I went the route of, well, let's see if I go Jared. I was going to do a Jared Goff stacked with the cheaper of the two receivers, Cooks and Woods. I think I still will take that approach somewhere, but I'm like, so I'm only saving $600. I'm only saving $600 to go Jared Goff. So Lamar Jackson in that floor against a team that Seattle has consistently shown us that they're not going to be they're not a horrible defense, but they're also not a very good defense. And I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities specifically for Lamar to use those legs. And honestly, Sean, early in the week, and I'm dreadful at totals, but this is also striking me as the kind of game that is going to be an over game. It's going to be a shootout. I want shares in this game, so I'm going to take the quarterback, Lamar Jackson, 6,800. I would go his price is too low considering how high his floor is.
Yeah, and a lot of that, like you said, rushing dependent, which I don't know if I have the Seahawks faced off against like a guy who likes a running quarterback, because that's always an interesting indicator. You mentioned Jared Goff, and as the owner and operator of Jared Goff Sucks Island, business is booming. 78 passing yards at home.
Which, by the way,
he didn't get hurt. He played the whole game.
Did we have some sort of what is it? What are they called when they dig up bones?
Archaeologists?
Some sort of archaeological study or finding that is Jared Goff Sucks Island just the part of Marcus Mariota?
Yeah.
Sucks Mountain.
Yeah, someone tweeted that.
Is that just the tip poking out of the ocean?
Yeah, maybe it's the volcanic remains of the Marcus Mariota, eruption that went off years ago.
Tannehill's an upgrade. How bad are you?
This has to be a crazy. Is anyone in NFL history ever going to have a season where they have below 100 passing yards and over 500 passing yards in the same season?
No.
That's got to be
impressive.
Insane. That's insane. I'm not.
Mr. Trubisky, maybe?
You're right, Pina. That is actually a good candidate for the under 100, over 500 club.
Real quick, they've only played Kyler Murray that fits that profile, but this was before Kyler said, fuck it, I'm done losing games. I'm going to use my legs. So
put his team on his back.
Jameis, I bet would Jameis and Dalton, the other two, I bet would fit.
Yeah, but even Jameis, I think, is kind of tough because even in horrible performances, he still gets you the yards.
Jameis owns the coolest strip club on Jared Goff Sucks Island for sure.
All right, so I actually, for my quarterback, I went to that same game, but I took the other side. Give me Danger Russ at home against this Ravens defense, which has kind of been pretty suspect. Now they're flying out to Seattle, non-conference road game. Seattle's at home. He's having like an MVP like season, averaging 27 fantasy points per game, which is weird because they're clearly focusing on the run, but he's just been great in the red zone, making plays.
Well, they also have to say periodically, because the fucking stupid ass game plan generally sucks. They go to fuck it, I guess we want to win. Let Russ go. Yeah, bring out Danger Russ.
Yeah, and he's averaging he's got 2 rushing touchdowns at home this season. I think he has a big game against this Baltimore defense. Clearly just not the same as the one previous years.
He is the MVP right now. Correction.
Yeah,
who's winning the MVP award over him right now?
Well, and he's MVP.
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I think the quarterback gets it.
Yeah. I mean, you could make
But
a great
you know,
case
he's
for
up there, too.
McCaffrey, but I think just Russell Wilson would get it because it's more compelling.
If this was the Heisman, McCaffrey wins.
That could be true.
I think in the NFL they're gonna give
It's
it,
just always going to go to a quarterback,
especially a Seattle team.
Unless-
They're not very good.
unless McCaffrey. He's got to go over like 3,000 total yards.
He can.
That's certainly he's within that realm.
He's gonna break down though. That's the problem.
RB1, Peanut. What are you doing this week?
Yeah, Kyler Murray had about 16 points when he went up against that Seattle team. To kind of look at the opposite side of that. So, look, I saw a guy running backs are very weird when we talk about DraftKings. We want to cheat at the PPR stuff. We look at kind of situational spots. To me, maybe an undervalued signing that nobody is talking about just because, you don't necessarily know who's always going to get the work, whether it's Coleman or it's Breida. Look, Coleman had 18 attempts in. Again, that was largely trying to run out the clock. Breida kind of the shifty guy. Again, always the injury concerns. But back-to-back weeks, 15 points and 14 points. And when you look at this, again, San Francisco going up against, guess what? This Washington team. And all Jimmy G does is win. I love this kind of late, run the clock out, protect Jimmy G a little bit, and just hand the ball off to Coleman, as many times as they see fit. At that $5,600 price point, man, I don't know, kind of how you can go wrong in a game where the team is expected to win and win by a large margin. I haven't looked at what that spread is this week, and I don't think they're going to be anywhere close to what it was. Yeah, I mean, San Fran 10-point favorites, man. That is very inducive to running out the ball at the end of running out the clock at the end of the game. So I'm going to go Coleman at 5,600 at Washington.
I love that play, and I'll add this to that. Sean. Coleman got 100% of the red zone carries.
Yeah.
So, again, I think there's a story here where Breida maybe gets a lot of work. Coleman is going to be that Latavius Murray role where he's going to get a handful of carries, also going to get the goal line work. So another guy, maybe I'll have him in the Jared Goff lineup.
Well, it's interesting because I thought, honestly, that 49ers offense wouldn't be the same without the fullback there, but they didn't seem to miss a beat.
No, they looked – or maybe the Rams just suck. Maybe my prediction that the Rams are going to miss the playoffs at almost 3-1 is just cash money. Sean, for my second running back, can we get we really need the sound drop. Beep, beep. Listen.
Back the Brinks truck up.
He's earned it. Leonard Fournette is officially a giant Escalade. He looks good. He looks big and strong. He looks like he cares right now. And, man, I really like the way he's running. And guess who they have, Sean? Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Cincinnati, I think they may be occupying the same dumpster as the Falcons.
Oh, yeah.
Could be. I just love this matchup. Paying $7,000, paying up for it, but he's getting the work. He's going to continue to get the work. He's averaged 25 carries over the last 3 games. So give me Leonard Fournette, 7,000. The caveat or the extra, the kind of icing on top.
The passing game, right?
He's catching passes.
Yeah.
He's had 16 targets over the past 3 games, Sean. So you weren't expecting that with Leonard Fournette.
No.
He's not scoring the touchdowns, but he's making up for it in the rushing game. And I think when Minshew takes to the road against the big bad Bengals, they're going to lean on this rushing attack. So I'm all in on Fournette this week.
Yeah, totally makes sense. And the bonus of him catching passes, definitely something you want to consider. I didn't think this guy would be great coming into the season fantasy-wise, but David Johnson, he's been getting involved in the passing game. That's really where he's been huge. 6 catches last game, 68 yards, a touchdown receiving and rushing. This Giants linebacker core hasn't been amazing. And again, Kyler
Did you
likes
see the
to dump
effort
it down.
last week? Did you see that effort?
They weren't horrific. But
Toughest game the Patriots played all year.
I think the Bills game, but I think David Johnson is able to catch some passes against this Giants defense. I'll say that. So yeah, give me David Johnson at 7,800 in New York.
He's scoring too with Edmonds, the other running, the handcuff, also putting up points. So it's like, if you think about the fact, Edmonds put up 15 points last week,
which isn't bad. He's 4,700 this week, but I'll just.
Oh no, I like the Johnson play. I'm just pointing out he's scoring even though the backup is getting work and stealing points from him.
Yeah, Pina, who's your second running back?
Man, you talk about big spreads. Whoever thought that where we stand right now, coming into Week 7, the Buffalo Bills would be laying 17 points to anybody
Oh
in the
my
National
God.
Football League.
Highest
spread mattering.
highest spread for them since 1993.
That was back when they were losing Super Bowls, Sean.
Yeah.
I would bet the Patriots Bills spread was probably the lowest dogs they've been in a very long time against that team too. So a year of first for the Buffalo Bills, man. But look, Frank Gore, Mr. Miami, Mr. U, gets a little revenge spot here. People forget he had a brief stop in Miami, and Frank Gore's been around the league forever. My high school leagues, I was picking Frank Gore on the San Francisco 49ers, so I don't think I got to talk about what it is that he does too much. Probably, I mean, outside of some of the elite of the elite, you just know what you're going to get. Maybe he gets in the end zone, maybe he doesn't, man. But when he does, you're looking at, basically 10 to 12 points from his rushing yards. And if you can get that touchdown, you're looking 16 to 18. No, he's never really going to have that, 30, 40-point game. And so maybe for a GPP, it's not the sexiest pick in the world, but you're talking about a guy at 5,200 as a 17-point favorite where they're going to try to run the clock out, coming off nothing less than 14 carries since week 1 of this NFL season, man. So I just, like you said with Lamar Jackson, Kramer, I don't know how you get a safer floor here than Frank Gore at 52.
Yeah, I mean, agreeing with Pina. I think he has the floor to make him he's a big cash play for me this week, Sean. I also think it's worth one of the reasons I kept him out of this lineup. I will have him in others. Is Singletary going to play? Because
it looks like he's trending towards playing.
But it's crazy. I mean, Gore is one of the few people in the NFL that have been around longer than Jason Garrett. Sean, would you believe it? Jason Garrett, he's lasted longer than Andrew Luck. Never in a million years. He's been 10 years. It's almost the 10-year anniversary, I believe.
How long have we been talking about Jason Garrett getting fired?
Did you see the news?
What's the
When
news?
asked if his seat or his job was in jeopardy, they answered very quickly, no. Yeah. Absolutely not.
Why change now?
Thank you to whoever's calling the shots in Dallas.
Oh, it's Jerry Jones, right?
Is it still Jerry?
Yeah, of course. And he ruined his birthday. You can't ruin the old guy's birthday.
He definitely had a child killed. That's why Steven doesn't rise up, right?
It's like that.
He sent
South
a message. Yeah. My second running back, Sean, and I think it might be a little early, maybe a small sample size, but Marlon Mack. Has he earned?
Yeah.
Has he earned? Maybe he's not the full XT version of the Escalade, but he's working his way up.
He doesn't have the custom rims, but he's up there.
He's kind of in the
he's
same
the base package,
similar boat as Fournette for me right now, which is when he's healthy, he's going to perform because not only does his team need him to, but he's just a beast. And I did not see him turning into this level of beast, and he's going against a Houston team that they will give up some rushing yards. And I also think Indy knows that for them to win games and for them to be successful this year, Mack has to be a big reason why. So I think we're going to continue to see that. I mean, take out the Oakland game, which was they fell behind early, and he's being used. He's averaging north of 20 carries a game. I think Indy's going to score some points here. They're coming off the bye.
Should be in the red zone.
Big divisional game.
This Houston team,
6,000.
Their defense has looked porous at times.
Ooh, porous. Nice.
Yeah, I'm also taking Marlon Mack for 6,000. This guy feels criminally underpriced. He should be like 7,500, and he's been banged up a little bit at times, but coming off the bye, I mean, his previous game, 29 carries, 132 yards, a couple catches. Like, this guy's just gonna get a ton of volume. I don't see why they don't go to Mack big early and often. So, yeah, Marlon Mack at 6,000 feels like a bad pricing job by DraftKings.
Well, I think the matchup is why. I mean, Houston has a pretty good run defense.
They've had I don't know. Their defense has had moments where they don't look great. And I think, not to tip hand picks-wise, but it could be a possible letdown spot for Houston. 2 big wins,
strangely,
going on the road. It is a division game, so I guess they would get up for it. But I could see them I could see letdown opportunity for Houston with this Frank Reich team coming off a bye. Pina, who's your first receiver?
Yeah, man, I wanted to get Mack in there. I also did want to get Fournette So I absolutely love everything about this, but let's talk about buying high and selling low, man. And what just happened? What did we see? I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I have to get a piece of going against this Atlanta defense. I know they're on the road. Jared Goff probably won't be able to hear McVay tell him where to throw the football. But when you talk about a guy coming off a worst performance, again, that secondary having so much to do with that Sherman and kind of everything that went wrong for Cooper Kupp. And I know the price sucks, but you go up and down, 30 points or above, basically, with a ceiling game of 36 against Cleveland, 20 before that. If there is a get right game for Goff, it is likely in this spot, win or lose, and Cooper Kupp is going to be a part of that. Again, not to tip the hand to the next play, but kind of what Ryan was talking about with going with the cheaper option. I did that in just a different game, and I like this version rather than the opposite of going Woods and Cooks and the opposite guy that we'll talk about next. But Cooper Kupp at 7,400.
So I went back and forth with this spot in my lineup, Sean. Both high upside guys. One of them on the Rams, like Pina was just discussing, Brandon Cooks. The other, John Brown. I ended up going John Brown because I'm a little concerned that Jared Goff sucks island is now maybe we're through the storm and it's just going to be nice there all the time. No more hurricanes. Maybe the hole in the ozone's really helping out with that. I went John Brown. They're taking on the Dolphins for all the reasons why Pina likes Frank Gore this week. John Brown is going to catch a couple deep balls. If one of those is a touchdown, this pays off 5,500. And I think we've seen, like we maybe predicted before, I think one of us touted it, but John Brown was going to be a guy who Josh Allen the games fit. The game matches.
I've liked John Brown. I've played him a couple times with a Josh Allen stack. I like that, especially because
that's actually
the Dolphins.
If you want to have fun this week, a John Brown, Josh Allen stack is not the worst thing you can do.
Coming off
against
the Bills, coming off a bye
against this Dolphins team again.
I love that. I love that Allen, John Brown kind of GPP flyer stack. Love that play.
I mean, think about it, right? What did McLaren he only caught 4 balls, but two of them were touchdowns. So John Brown, 55.
Similar skill set. All right, I was with Pina. I can't quit Cooper Kupp, baby. Coming off a very low-performing game, he's just got to catch the ball. Jared Goff isn't going to have 80 yards passing again. Cooper Kupp is going to catch a lot of passes against Atlanta. I feel it. I know it. $7,400. Give me Cooper Kupp. Pino, who's your second receiver?
So this is what I was talking about. I think in some versions you can go Cooks, you can go Woods, and you can go Hopkins. I chose to go Cooper Kupp, and I'm plugging in Will Fuller. Yes, he, down game at first glance, right? Still 9 targets, only 44 yards. He did drop a ball in the end zone on a deep one that would have made this look a lot better. But look, coming off that Atlanta game with 56, I think you obviously knew, that ceiling game was what it was. But, we kind of talk about this guy every time, and you can kind of plug and play with the 1A options of a couple different teams. And, Fuller may be one of the most underrated receivers out of that 2 spot when you look at, how they're going to try to roll coverage towards Hopkins in this situational spot, man. And that's why I talked about, Watson being the most, the heavy or the highest paid quarterback on the board this week. So instead of going, Woods, Cooks, and Hopkins, I just went Kupp, and I'm going to go roll him out there with Will Fuller, in a fast track, Indianapolis, 6,200.
Yeah, It seems as though he's starting to like to throw to Fuller more because now he's throwing to Fuller when Fuller's double covered. It seems like it's less. I'm getting worried as a DeAndre Hopkins owner. I'm getting a little bit worried, Sean.
Well, and also when you play one of them in DraftKings and you have 4 TVs going and you see a guy with a 1 on his jersey and dreadlocks, you're like, oh, it's the other guy. So it is kind of confusing. I think one of them should get a haircut. Not that I'm anti-dreadlocks.
You did go to Penn State, so that would be aligned with the Nittany Iron
what
way.
Was that? Just some angry guy. They're disgusting. They don't represent our values. A little dog whistly there, but
dreads make you look better on the field.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Dreads do make you look cooler. Just maybe one guy dyes their dreads, something to differentiate the two.
Dalvin Cook would not look nearly as slick coming around the corner without those dreads flying out the back. Sean,
yes,
for my second receiver, I went back to that game. We discussed it earlier, Baltimore-Seattle. This time, I'm going with a Seattle receiver here. And Sean, when I look up over at the Football Outsiders, when I look up the Baltimore Ravens defense, specifically against number 2 receivers, they're not doing so hot. That's Metcalf. He's running out of that role, I believe. I could be a complete asshole here, but it worked for my pricing. It fit nicely in the lineup. And again, I project my model, Sean. It projects this to be a high-scoring game. We've seen the way that he's not getting a ton of targets, but he's still getting relevant targets around the red zone.
He does get the red zone looks, which I think are helpful. For my second receiver, I stayed in that game to stack with Russell Wilson. That's Tyler Lockett. I think he's just with no Disley. I think Lockett's going to get more work. I mean, they get him involved in the running game a little bit. He's gotten a couple carries this season. But
look out for Luke Wilson, by the way.
Oh, yeah. He could be a deep play.
He could be sneaky. Baltimore is quietly one of the bottom 5 teams against the tight end. It's just
and
Arizona
Luke
is so bad it's not close.
Not bad. I just think that Disley was playing so well, it was clear he was going to be the starter. But, yeah, Tyler Lockett, I think he's due for a big game at home against this Ravens defense.
4,800 for Metcalf, just to close out the point. He's had 8 targets in the red zone with 0 catches.
Really? Because I thought he was doing well.
Leading the team in red zone targets, 0 completions. So that 23% target share in the red zone is going to regress.
You know what's not going to regress, Ryan? It's always there at the top of the online retail, and that's Amazon, baby. We're brought to you by Amazon. And what does that mean, Sean? What does that mean you're brought to you by Amazon? You're sponsored by Amazon? Yeah, it's pretty simple. All you do, go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com, click that Amazon banner, bookmark that, and every time you shop on Amazon, you're shopping through our link, which helps you because, hey, do you want to be some asshole who goes to the store? No, that's why you're shopping at Amazon. And it, kicks a couple bucks our way, helps support the podcast, keep the lights on, keep all this content free. That's what we want, free content. And how do we give you free content? When you support the sponsors. And one little side note, Philadelphia area, in particular, Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. I'll be at the Sound Bank October 25th, Friday night, 8:30 p.m. Doors open 7:30. Only $10 tickets. Stand-up comedy. Pina.
Self-promotion. I like it, Sean.
Yeah. Gotta get some plugs in there. Pina, who's your third receiver?
Yeah, man, what I saw from this Minnesota team, look, my cheat sheet on Kirk Cousins, you faded him against, above 500 teams. And look, Minnesota and every Cousins backer was quick to point out what he did. And I understand that, man. But let's talk about the leaks kind of in this Minnesota back end. And, Jeffrey, 10 for 76. Sanders was out of the backfield, but even Ertz get involved, Goddard, and even Aguilar is 4 for 42. Aguilar's not necessarily your volume guy. I know that's kind of changed a little bit with G Jackson, of course, his injury stuff. But I look at a guy like Kenny Golladay, man, and again, Detroit at home and nothing less than 8-9 targets all through the year. And this has obviously emerged as that the route tree that Stafford locks onto and doesn't really care who's around him. Now, win or lose, obviously for these purposes, go ahead and sling the ball 500 times for all we care and throw 10 picks if you're Stafford. But this Minnesota team is very, very in the back end. I worry about them long term, especially if Cousins, I worry about long term, of course, too, but and kind of what's going on there. But ceiling game, and when you come back around, you look at this Detroit team and quietly kind of, being in a lot of games and winning these games that I think in past years, they kind of have always thrown up that dud spot. And this is, again, this is Minnesota indoors, sure, but Minnesota away from home is a very different team, even on the defensive end, even more than offense. So Golladay is in a great spot here at 5,800.
Don't overthink it. Kirk Cousins just beats bad teams. That's all that was.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Oh, okay, guys.
See what I did there, Sean?
You like that?
For my third receiver, I definitely had to bargain shop here. But I saw Dante Pettis get 6 targets last week. And I thought he was supposed to be the number one. They've kind of been fucking around. Maybe Jimmy G just really sucks, and he's just good at looking good and handing the ball off and having a good defense. It's so fitting that the disciple of Tom Brady goes to another team and is supported by a really strong defense, and he just wins, right? System quarterback. He's in another strong system. Jimmy Garoppolo.
Brady's always had great defenses around him.
Jimmy Garoppolo. It looked like he's slowly warming up to Dante Pettis, and I love the matchup this week. Again, the Washington Redskins. They're not very good. They're not very good at stopping the pass. Even Ryan Fitzmagic was able to come back, bring them back from 14 down, So I'm taking a bit of a stab in the dark here. Total GPP play, 4,100 Dante Pettis.
All right. I went to the Bengals offense, which you normally don't do, but give me Auden Tate.
Ooh.
Coming off a 12-target, 91-yard game. He only caught 5 of those targets. Maybe you can catch a few more against Jacksonville. They're at home, so I think that is helpful. And I'm guessing Ramsey is still out. Maybe if A.J. Green comes back, I take him out. But I don't get the sense A.J. Green wants to play for this Bengals team right now.
I think Ramsey, even if he played, he'd probably get Boyd, right? And strangely, Tate seems to be the guy that Dalton's looking for.
Yeah,
so,
that's a ton of targets. Kind of a boom or bust play, but at $4,500, I'm going to roll the dice at home. Auden Tate. Peanut, what are you doing with your tight end?
Man, I showed my hand early. I'm going to let you guys go with this because I think you probably have the same exact tight end in this situational spot, man. Again, if he plays Evan Ingram, we are going back to this well. Again, we're doing this a little early, but optimistic he will play 6,500, man. He really should be, I think people forgot about just how kind of matchup proof he was. And I know you look up and down the board and he's, oh my God, I just saw Austin Hooper's price inflation. That's just because of what he just did against, that team. So to me, man, I don't know how you go anywhere else. I'm stacking Danny Dimes with my man, Evan Ingram at 6,500.
He practiced Monday. They're optimistic, and I think if you have the money, you have to start him. I didn't quite have the money this week, Sean.
No.
And let me point out.
It's all that escalates.
If Ingram does not start, Ellison, 3,400. I played him in the showdown.
He's kind of had some moments. I feel like.
Well, it's just the positional matchup. But what I did was I needed to stack someone with Lamar Jackson, and I pointed out to you guys that Seattle's been quietly not the best. Defending the tight end. I believe they are the 3rd worst in fantasy points per game against defending the tight end. They are also pretty low DVOA, 30th. So 3rd worst in DVOA as well, defending the tight end. And we've seen Mark Andrews just repeatedly get a lot of looks from Mr. Jackson. So it was the obvious stack. He has had 7-8 targets over the past 4 weeks. Only found the end zone once. I think he's going to find the end zone again. Shootout in this game. I want some shares in it. 4,900 Mark Andrews.
Yeah, I definitely was poking around him, but I'm going to.
Were you?
Yeah, I was prodding around Mark Andrews. He didn't care for it. Much like Lenny Dykstra, he doesn't go for that kind of stuff.
The slot. How's the slot?
For my tight end slot, I am going with now this is before the Lions-Green Bay game, but I locked in his price. T.J. Hawkinson, $3,600, coming off of he was out for a little bit, concussion protocol. Sounds like he's going to play tonight.
Yep.
Either way, should be good next Sunday. And you saw with the Vikings, there seemed to be some opportunities across the middle there. Dallas Goedert had a pretty solid game for him. Ertz probably could have done some more, but I think there's going to be some opportunities for Hawk at home against the Minnesota defense, and only $3,600, bit of a bargain. So give me TJ Hawk.
And real quick nugget about Hunter Henry last week, who's now 4,000 this week.
Crazy.
They said he wasn't going to be used a lot. I think
I
saw.
That's why I didn't. Yeah.
He only played 11 snaps,
and he had 2 touchdowns in 11 snaps. I mean, one was kind of a garbage one, but still.
I think I could be wrong on that, but I believe he only played 11 snaps and received like 8 targets or something like that.
Yeah.
So clearly,
Rivers loves him.
It tells you that it's a nice week for tight ends. There's a lot of lower priced tight ends, and then of course there's the dream Evan Ingram matchup against Arizona.
Pina, your tight end.
Flex.
Or no, sorry, your flex.
You're all caught up in the tight end right now, Sean.
Yeah. I'm on the same wavelength as you, Kramer. Usually I don't like going running backs and wide receivers in the same team just because it gives you a lot of exposure. But you look at Pettis, came in supposed to be the home run threat, 6 targets as you talked about, man, averaging double digits, yards per catch, man, and going up pretty much all year, getting better as the year goes on. I know he had kind of that bad game in Cleveland when they were up 31-3, but that was kind of game script dependent. And, as we always say, you got to get to a blowout somehow. So I'm with you, man. Dante Pettis at 4,100.
Sean, I pointed out earlier I have a couple Escalades in the garage.
Yep.
And then I had to take some of these kind of GPP stab wide
You
receiver
got a bird
plays.
scooter kicking around there.
Well, I didn't have enough room, but then it turned out in my flex. I'm knocking down the wall anyway because we got the biggest Escalade of them all. He's practicing. He's back, 8,900 against the very crappy Arizona Cardinals, who have they've been bad against the tight end, also not great against the running back. Freeman kind of shredded him last week. Oh, he's ready. He's coming back. Now,
Saquon.
asterisk, if he does not come back, I'm going to be pivoting around here. But, yeah, you're
going to start him anyway. He's an alien, Ryan.
He's definitely playing this week. Saquon Barkley, 8,900. Sean, how did I fit all those Escalades in there?
I don't know.
Full edition.
We got to run your numbers, Ryan. This guy, again, I still got a little bit of Minshew mania. He's coming off a down game. I really think there is legit chemistry between DJ Chark Jr. and Gardner Minshew. They're going up against the Cincinnati defense, which has kind of looked like dog shit. And, granted, it's in Cincinnati, but I think Chark is due for a bounce-back game. That New Orleans defense, I think, is just legit. I didn't think they were going to show up last week in Jacksonville. They did. But Cincinnati's defense, I know, sucks. So give me DJ Chark Jr. Against the Bengals, $6,000.
That's a lot to say.
It is. Pina, close things out. Who is your defense this week?
Yeah, for everything that we want to talk about, Mitch Trubisky, this defense on the Chicago Bears side is, what do you always say? It's probably the safest one on the board each and every week, but it comes with the highest floor, and it also comes with the highest ceiling, man. It really does. And sacks, it's a defense with Khalil Mack, 6 sacks against Minnesota. Yeah, bad game against Oakland. Those type of things happen. Love buying that back, getting some time to get some guys right here. Home, look, it's the Saints, sure. Bridgewater, all he does is win games for our purposes. Again, we really don't care about that type of situation. He's holding the ball longer than even a guy like Drew Brees used to. And this Chicago team, I think, is actually in kind of a nice little buy low spot. And conversely, with what's going on with the Saints, eventually these runs have to come back around. So I'm going to go against the kind of hype that is Teddy Bridgewater at this point. So give me the Chicago Bears at home at only $3,000, man. And again, what a time to be alive, where the Buffalo Bills are the highest paid defense on the board.
Right. It's insane. Well, Sean, if you're keeping track at home, you'd know that I have exactly $2,000. And what do we see? Who's priced exactly $2,000? Well, they're facing a team you called out. They might be in a strange letdown spot, even though it's a divisional game. That's my Indianapolis Colts. They have to be healthy. They're healthier coming off the bye.
Darius Leonard is practicing.
They have to be tired. The Texans, that is, from all that running they did in their ass whooping of the Chiefs. And I had 2,000. And if you're coming to me with, are you going to take the Colts, Raiders, Redskins, or Miami Dolphins? Give me the Colts for 2,000.
Well, that's a solid play, I guess, at 2,000. But I only had $1,500, which means I selected the Miami Dolphins defense. It's the lowest price point on the board.
You don't have to sell it.
What I will say is that Josh Allen has turned the ball over a bunch.
He has the propensity to turn the ball over.
And this Buffalo Bills team, their defense has been awesome, but they haven't really been lighting up the scoreboard. I think they have not scored 30 points this season. In fact, their biggest point total was 28 against the Giants. Other than that, they've got 21 points at home, 10 points at home, and 14 points. So, I'm not going to make a case for it, but that's my case for the Miami Dolphins.
Well done,
defense.
Sean.
Thank you. Feel pretty decent about my lineup. Pina, what are we talking about waiver wire? Any waiver wire guys? Out and Tate.
When you look up and down, man. Yeah, I do like that one, man. And when you look up and who's coming up, who's coming back. I mean, for whatever, I can't fathom this, but if you didn't have an IR spot and you're in a kind of a not a bench league and somebody for whatever reason didn't think Hill was going to play, I think that's obviously going to be kind of your 1A. If for whatever reason, I'm going to talk about him every single week until his ownership goes up, and that's Cortland Sutton 1,000 times over. He is by far taken over Emmanuel Sanders, who doesn't even see the field at this point in time anymore, as the one. Look, I get it's Flacco, but the guy's putting up production, and that's really all that you can ask for. As far as some other waiver wire stuff out there, you touched touched on the great matchup that Ingram has, and if he can't go, I think especially if you do have Ingram and you're holding him, you got to get that back up in there. And as we look at this Seattle team who is incorporating the tight end so much, with that injury, with that, just kind of so unfortunate for a breakout year. Luke Wilson, as we always talk about, kind of should fill that route tree. So those are pretty much everything I had for the week.
Yeah, looking ahead, Ed Dixon, I believe, is eligible to come off the IR week 9. Perhaps he steps into it. I do like the Luke Wilson chemistry thing. Plus, he seemed like a likable guy on Hard Knocks.
Yeah, plus his name's Luke Wilson. Come on. He's got to be a chill dude.
Yeah, super dry sense of humor. We like that. Quarterbacks, if you're streaming, Josh Allen, Daniel Jones, even Mr. Kirk Cousins, there's some opportunity there. Sam Darnold, Sean. Are you picking up Sam Darnold if you need a quarterback?
Sammy D. I don't know, man, because this week they're at home against the Pats. That's a tough, not an ideal matchup.
Opportunity to throw the ball, right?
Yeah, I just think you could do better streaming options.
Jamison Crowder.
Yeah, he's a fun one.
He's owned in about 50% of leagues. And then I think if Chase Edmonds is out there and you have David Johnson, you have to pick him up. Even if you don't have David Johnson has gotten hurt before. We've seen him. He's a little brittle. Chase Edmonds looks electric, Sean. Electric. So I'm rostering him even if I don't have David Johnson because I think he's going to be usable going forward as a second running back. And if he gets hurt, if David Johnson gets hurt, you're
and Pina threw out Cortland Sutton. But if you're in a tough spot at the QB position, you could do worse than Joe Flacco at home against the Kansas City Chiefs defense. Right? Am I crazy?
Could you?
Yeah, you could.
All right.
You could start Fitzpatrick against the.
Are you picking up Darrell Henderson? He looked way better than Malcolm Brown.
Dude, I don't know what to. Because I don't think the Gurley injury wasn't his knee being inflamed; it was a bruised thigh. So I don't know. Is Gurley going to be back this week?
I don't know.
I had Darrell Henderson early, and then I got rid of him for Malcolm Brown, and he hasn't done shit.
It's weird that McVay went out of his way to talk about how they'll probably have to rely on the kid at some point in the season. Like, you don't have to say that.
It's just the coaching genius that is Sean McVay,
Benny
Ryan,
Snell Jr.?
top 3 NFL coach.
Benny Snell Jr., you picking him up? He looked really good.
Yeah, he did. I don't know if that didn't feel sustainable, but
he was dynamite in college as well. So I don't know. I threw out electric and dynamite. I got nothing else.
That's all we need.
Tavon Austin. Are you picking up Tavon Austin?
Just out of principle.
We got to get our shit going mentally.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
Thank you, as always, for tuning into the Sports Gambling Podcast. Rate, review, and share on iTunes. Pina, before we go, what can we expect on the Inside Vegas on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network?
Yeah, man, bunch of things coming up, both in and out. So you guys will be solo on next week's DFS podcast. I'm away for that week. So what do we got coming up for you guys? We got a little double whammy. So, of course, this week we're going to have the normal NFL weekly breakdown card. We're looking to do a little bit more kind of weekly segmented stuff. So Spread Investor will probably be coming back to kind of do a little segment every single week that'll be starting up this week. And, of course, we're going to be a little peek behind the curtain for everybody. But I think we're going to be dropping the second show of next week a day early so that we can or a couple days early so that we can get it out to you guys for, guess what is back? NBA season. So we're going to be doing a whole look at NBA futures, over under wins, MVP, rookies of the year, you name it, with dear friend of the program, Whale Capper, breaking down the upcoming NBA season from a futures perspective.
Awesome. Great slate.
Well, and I think it's probably a good time to let the audience know because we get a lot of questions about this. How's he doing? What's he up to? Can you have him on just to tell some hilarious stories?
Yeah.
Stepping in for Christian Pina. Confirmed, unconfirmed that Dick Olson will be returning.
The mysterious Dick Olson will be returning.
He's got a lot going on in his life right now, but it sounds like he can carve out a solid 60 minutes to give us.
Probably one insane sex story, one really gross story, and
someone
three good fantasy plays. 2
people legitimately asked me to have him back on just to tell the dog shit cum story again. So we need a storytellers series with Dick Olson. Maybe that's
like VH1.
That's the future.
Get Dick out there with an acoustic guitar and some candles.
Get some evergreen material out on the feed.
All right, guys. Thank you, as always, for tuning in to the podcast. For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green, and he is Ryan.
Good luck to us, Sean.
Kramer. Let it Rad.